Welcome to the Witches Healing Podcast. This is a show that helps you get back to the basics of your spiritual journey. I am your host, Moonstone Energy, spiritual wellness coach, and entrepreneur. I am here to show you that the way out is within. Now let's get into this episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Witches Healing Podcast. I am your host. Today, I want to talk about, and it's going to coincide with the title of the episode, which is The House of Lies, Living in Our Own Delusions. So, and this was like literally placed on my heart to talk about because I think a lot of us, even myself, we come to a point in our lives where we get so caught up in working and trying to manifest certain things for ourselves and make different moves, make things change, put ourselves and our children and family members into a different position. But I think that because, of course, we're all human, right? We get to a point in our lives where we become so caught up and used to a certain bubble that we have placed ourselves in, a certain structure a structure and a routine. That's the word I'm looking for, a routine that we've made for ourselves, to the point where we feel like we're progressing so far, but yet we aren't really progressing at all. We are literally staying stagnant. And what I mean by that is the bubble that we created for ourselves is built on lies and delusions that we created for ourselves. I'll give you an example. There's a man that has a family, highly ambitious. He has dreams of becoming the world's greatest author. He stays up late nights making his manuscripts and just banging at the keyboard, right? So much so that he misses out on time with his family. He misses out on events. He misses out on life and living it to the fullest. So he's in this constant loop of focusing on becoming the greatest author, to the point where he misses out on so many different things. And he's continuously stuck in this cycle for, let's say, 3 years, continuously in the same cycle of doing the same thing for 3 years. And when he gets to the end of the 3rd year, he looks back and he reflects on everything that he's done in the past 3 years. And it looks like no progress has been made, at least physically. He's lost his family. He's lost time with himself, because self-care is important. He's lost time just in general that he cannot get back. All because he was chasing not just the dollar, but the ambition, the thought, the illusion of becoming this great author. The entire time of him wanting to become this great author, he forgot that he needed to live his life and bring his family with him. That was the one thing that was going to be the key to unlocking his success that he needed. And I just wanted to tell that miniature story because that's the example that I'm trying to convey. We get so caught up in working and doing all the things that we imagine, it needs to be in order for me to get from point A to point B. These are the steps here. These are the steps that I need to follow. And once I get there, this is what is going to happen. The entire time that we're doing this, I feel like in my mind, and this is if you have a belief in God, I feel like God just sitting there just like, really? You really thought that okay, no. No, that's not how it's going to happen. That's not how it's going to happen. You're going to get there, but it's not going to happen the way that you think it is. Um, and it's so crazy, but I'm going to dive back into this episode in one moment, but I had to interrupt and let you know that you are not alone. You are loved, and most importantly, you are supported. If at any moment you feel that you need guidance or mentoring, you have resources available to you, love. Please visit moonstoneenergy.com and book a one-on-one spiritual coaching session or an intuitive reading, and let's get you back into your power. We get so caught up with work and how we imagine something would be. Like when you are manifesting something, whether you write it down, whether you burn a candle, write your intentions down, burn your intentions and light your candle, whatever you do, however you do it. The premise of manifesting anything is for you to declare and decree that this is going to happen for me. And that's it. I put it out there. I said what I needed to say. I'm claiming it because it's mine. And you leave it alone. But in the process of you leaving it alone, of course, you need to work towards whatever that goal is. That's the key. I'm not a Bible thumper, but faith without work is dead. If you're not doing the work or at least meeting God halfway, it's not going to happen for you the way that you think it is. But aside from that, you don't want to get too caught up in what it's going to look like or a certain cookie cutter mold of what my steps to success is going to look like, because it can vary. It can deviate like crazy. I'll tell you this. This has been and sometimes it goes over my head and I have to literally come back to reality. I've seen people that go into a certain field for something, and then they end up getting successful and getting all the things and making all the money, but the way to success for them did not look anything like what they went to go for initially. Just like when you go to school and you get all these degrees and all these elemental P's after your name, and you end up working at Target. And that's not to say there's nothing wrong with working at Target, but think of it like this. Your road to success is not going to look like your neighbors. It's not going to look like this person's. It's not going to look like that person's. And even if you go to that webinar and they say, okay, this is what I did to get successful. This is what I did to do this. Not saying that what they did not help them, because of course it did. There's proof right there in front of your face. But to say what your path is going to look like as you're climbing the ladder of success in whatever avenue it is, it's not realistic. We get to a point where we create a house of lies for ourselves that we forget, and we become so out of touch with reality that we are not mindful of what's literally going on in front of our faces. Is this situation that you're in, is it serving you? Is it truly serving you? Okay, if you do this, is this, after this is complete, is it really going to look like how you think it's going to look? It's not. It's still good. You're still going to be in the same predicament that you were in, regardless of what all these other things. You have to get to a point where your understanding is not just, okay, you're focused on this one goal. You have to be aware of everything that's going on around you, so you don't forget the little minute details. You got to zoom out a little bit, get some perspective, look outside of yourself and see what's really going on. I'm just going to be fully transparent. I was in my own little box and bubble of delusion. And I had to literally sit with myself and really think about what it is that I needed to do. What is it that I truly want? What is the what is it that I really want out of everything in general? And that's how this episode became birth. And I said, you know what? I need to tell somebody else about this because I can't be the only person. I cannot be the only person. I have to tell somebody about this because I know for a fact that I'm not the only ambitious person out here in this universe, not filled with all these female entrepreneurs and stuff. Like everyone gets to a point where they just get so out of touch with reality that they just forget to do basic maintenance. And basic maintenance doesn't have to be so grand and big or anything like that. It could be very simple actually. Take care of yourself. Take a moment to breathe. Take a moment to journal. Take a moment to pray. Take a moment to meditate. Take a moment to spend time with not just yourself, but your family. Take a moment to give gratitude and have gratitude. But also, in the process of doing all those things, just make sure that you're staying grounded and you're staying practical. Like, okay, well, you want to get here, understood, but you still have to take care of this, 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 and this before you can get here. It's levels. It's levels to this. Like literally, it's levels. You have to complete each level in its own time in order for you to see any type of movement of any kind. I guarantee it. I guarantee you. I think that we forget that one thing one thing begets another thing begets another thing begets another thing. You can't have this unless this happened. Like you wouldn't be here if your parents haven't met, and your parents wouldn't be here if their parents hadn't met. It's like one of those things. You have to understand that there is a certain structure for different things. And in order for you to stay within alignment in general, you have to go through the processes. You have to go with the flow of how everything is going. When you begin to fight the flow and the process that it takes, that's when stuff starts to get sticky. That's when stuff starts to get a little hectic for you. And we're all guilty at some time or another in our lives. We are all guilty of this. It's because we are living in a society, even millennials, I say millennials, but we are in a complete overall society where things need to come to us instantly. We need instant gratification. We need to see something in the physical in order to know that we're moving forward. We need something tangible to know that we're making some type of impact of some sort. I need a like in order to know that I'm going to, I'm making progress with people in my Instagram page or something like that. Or I need to, in order for me to know that I'm doing this right, I need somebody to validate or co-sign whatever I say or whatever I do. Like that's the world that we're living in. And I'm here to tell you that's not going to help. It's not going to work. No, no, no. It's not going to help you. You got to get out of that mindset that your impact is contingent upon physical proof, because I'll be the first to tell you there's been many a time that I've done so many different things. I did all the things and I don't get this or I don't get this type of recognition, but whole time I'm breaking down doors. I'm busting down driveways. Like I am literally paving a way and a lane for myself and for anyone that's coming after me. But me, I need instant gratification. I gotta see this shit. But in the background, I think the background gets the least bit of coverage. And I think that's where the mindfulness comes into play and the gratitude of where you are in your journey and where you're going. Just thankful for what you have and thankful for what's on its way to you. So don't forget about the background. Don't forget about that. Break down your little, your little glass ceiling that you have. Well, not glass ceiling, but your glass house that you have for yourself, your bubble. Break out of it. Take a look around, get a feel for everything, and make your assessments from there and see if it is actually in alignment with what you're trying to do and what you're looking for, what your goals are. Is it in alignment with what you expect for yourself or what you expect for yourself within the next 10, 20 years, 5 years, 5 months, whatever? Is what you're doing now in alignment with anything that you envision for yourself? If your answer is yes, then keep doing what you are doing. But if it is no, you need to sit down, reevaluate, and have a hard conversation with yourself and be honest, because I think the most important thing that a lot of people forget, and I've even met somebody like this, like some people are afraid to face themselves and face their own truths. If you write it down, like if you literally do shadow work and you write it down and say, you know what? This wasn't something that I was too proud of. This wasn't something that I'm not proud of doing this. Like some people can't handle that. Some people can't handle their truth and handle the fact that they let themselves down and they let other people down. They can't handle that because it's too real. It is too real. But the funny part is when it comes to shadow work, is when you sit yourself down and you actually come to the realization that you are not living up to your highest self or your highest expectations of yourself. That's where your epiphany comes in. Um that's where the light at the end of the tunnel comes. The only way out is through. That's what I said at the beginning of this podcast on the first episode. The way out is within. You got to go through something to know something, okay? You have to be willing to acknowledge, hey, I fucked up. But that's okay. That is okay. I don't like what I did. I was in my low vibrational self at this point. I was at my lowest mindset at this point. And, I said some things. I did some things that I wasn't too proud of. Okay. Like that was really trash what I did. I was not happy about that. But I can rise above all of that. I can rise above it. I can acknowledge it. And I can move on and forgive myself and give myself grace and move forward. Like, I don't have to live there. I don't have to be there. Like, I can change if I want to. If I want to put on a red wig right now, guess what? I got on a red wig today. This is my Friday wig. And on Monday, we're going to do blue because I said so. That's how easy it is to change your mindset and how easy it is to change how you go about things. But people sometimes have a problem with honesty within themselves and owning their choices. That's another thing. When you can't own your choices, you will always have a problem with owning your outcomes. And that's real. When you take ownership of your choices, that means you understand what the outcome will be and you are standing 10 toes down on whatever it is that you set out to do. When you make choices for yourself and you know for a fact that you did it with good intentions and you did it out of, with a clear head and a clear mind, you are not afraid of what is to come because you know you did what you could with the mind that you were supposed to have at that time to make that sound decision. So take ownership of you. Take ownership of everything that you said that you were going to do that you did not do, or it's everything that you did or said you were going to do and you did do. Take ownership of that and sit with it. But on that note, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave feedback here on Spotify. And if you're on another platform, leave a review. Let me know. Join the conversation. I will be over on Instagram at moonstone_energy and on TikTok at the same name. And also, Shameless plug. But we got a little book club situation going on. If you are interested in joining the book club, babes, it's time for you to come on over. Come on over. We're not just reading, self-help books, what's that darn book? The Four Agreements. We're not just reading stuff like that. Even though that's a good book now. Don't get me wrong. That The Alchemist, all good books. But we are reading fiction, okay? We just got done reading The Black Candle Women. And this month we are going to be reading um a different book. As soon as I get it up, I'm going to tell you about it. Give me a moment. Oh, goodness. This month we shall be reading, if I can find it as soon as possible. Come on, you're taking all day. Goodness gracious. Okay, good Lord. We are reading Spells Trouble. Spells Trouble. So that's fiction. But if you are interested in joining, all of any links that I'm talking about, anything that has to do with me, or has to do with any social medias or anything, they will all be in the listen notes. So make sure that you check out the listen notes and make sure you stay connected. But thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you in the next one. The next time you hear from me, let's say the next episode, you'll be one step closer to your highest self, one step closer to stepping into your divine energy and in complete flow. And so it is. Ache.